There are 10 toxic pet products Americans buy every single day without thinking, and together they are the reason your dog scratches until his skin bleeds, your cat vomits twice a week, and you spend more at the vet in 1 year than a Japanese family spends in 5. Most American pet owners are using at least 6 of these products right now, sitting in their kitchen, their bathroom, their laundry room. Rule number 1 is about the treat you hand your dog every morning that was never sold in Japan, because it contains a compound banned in Japanese pet food since 2008. Rule number 4 is the shampoo you rub into your dog's skin that strips the protective barrier he needs to survive. And rule number 7 is the flea collar that has been silently poisoning your cat for months while you thought you were protecting her. In Japan, pet ownership is not treated as an afterthought. It is treated as a stewardship. A Japanese pet store carries roughly 40% fewer product categories than an American pet store, and every single product that makes it onto the shelf has been evaluated not for marketing potential, but for long-term biological impact. The Japanese Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries maintains a prohibited substance list for pet products that is more than 3 times longer than what the FDA restricts. American companies are allowed to sell products that Japanese regulators banned years ago. You do not know this because the labels do not tell you. The packaging shows a happy golden retriever with a shiny coat. The ingredient list uses words that sound natural. And you have been trusting that someone, somewhere, tested this product for safety before it reached the shelf. That is not how it works here. That is not how it has ever worked here. The first rule is about the treat you give your dog every morning. The one shaped like a little bone, the one that promises cleaner teeth. In an American pet store, dental chews are sold by the bag and marketed as essential for oral health. In a Japanese pet store, the same product category barely exists. The reason is propylene glycol. Propylene glycol is a humectant, which means it keeps things moist. It is what gives the chew that slightly flexible, leathery texture. It is also what keeps the chew from drying out on the shelf for 18 months. The FDA classifies propylene glycol as generally recognized as safe for dogs. What the label does not tell you is that propylene glycol is also the primary ingredient in many automotive antifreeze formulations, and that in 2008, Japanese regulators banned propylene glycol in cat food entirely after studies linked it to Heinz body anemia in felines. The ban did not extend to dog products in every category, but Japanese manufacturers voluntarily reformulated. American manufacturers did not. You have been handing your dog a daily dose of a compound his liver has to process every single morning for years. The fix is not complicated. Stop buying dental chews that list propylene glycol, glycerin, or any humectant in the first 5 ingredients. Buy a proper dog toothbrush, the kind with 3 bristle heads angled like a Japanese kitchen knife, and spend 90 seconds a day actually brushing. Or give him a raw beef bone from a butcher, which cleans teeth mechanically without a single chemical additive. The Japanese do not rely on a process stick to do what a natural surface does better. The second rule is about the bowl you pour his water into every morning. In a Japanese home, the pet water bowl is either ceramic, glass, or high-grade stainless steel with no plastic liner. In an American house, it is plastic. It has been plastic for years. It is the same bowl you bought when you brought him home, and you have never thought about it again. Here is what you need to understand about plastic. Plastic is porous at a microscopic level. Every scratch from a tooth, every scrape from a spoon, creates a crevice that holds water and bacteria. That crevice is too small for you to see, too narrow for soap to penetrate, and too deep for hot water to sanitize. You have been filling a bacterial reservoir every morning and calling it fresh water. In Japan, The concept of cabi or mold sensitivity extends to pet care. A Japanese owner inspects the water bowl weekly for biofilm, the slimy layer you can feel with your finger on the inside of the bowl. That biofilm contains Pseudomonas, Staphylococcus, and sometimes Leptospira, all of which cause chronic low-grade gastrointestinal distress in dogs and cats. Your dog drinks and then licks his paws. Your cat drinks and then grooms her belly. The bacteria enter the mouth, colonize the gut, and the result is intermittent loose stool you attribute to a sensitive stomach. Go to your kitchen right now. Run your finger along the inside of the plastic water bowl. If it feels even slightly slick, that is biofilm. Throw the bowl away. Buy a wide ceramic bowl from a kitchen supply store, the kind designed for miso soup, and wash it in the dishwasher every 3 days. The cost is $12. The fix takes 5 minutes. The difference is a pet that stops vomiting bile at 4 a.m. A similar problem exists in the third rule, and this one is harder to accept because you were told it was the healthy option. Grain-free dog food. In an American pet store, grain-free is a premium label that commands a premium price. In Japan, grain-free formulations are viewed with deep suspicion, and many Japanese veterinary associations have issued warnings about their link to dilated cardiomyopathy, or DCM. In 2018, the FDA announced an investigation into the correlation between grain-free diets and DCM in dogs. What they found was that dogs eating grain-free foods were developing enlarged hearts at rates far above the baseline population. The culprit was not the absence of grain. It was the presence of legumes. Peas, lentils, chickpeas, and potatoes are used as carbohydrate binders in grain-free foods, and these ingredients contain compounds that interfere with taurine absorption. Taurine is an amino acid essential for cardiac muscle function. Your dog's heart needs taurine the way your lungs need oxygen. You have been paying extra for a bag of food that starves his heart of the one amino acid it cannot live without. The Japanese approach is simpler and older. Feed a diet that includes rice, barley, or oats as the carbohydrate source, and make sure the first ingredient is a named meat, not a meal, not a byproduct, not a vague animal fat. Look at the bag in your pantry right now. If the third or fourth ingredient is pea protein, lentil, or chickpea, you are feeding a formulation linked to a fatal heart condition. Switch to a food that uses whole grain rice or barley. The cost is the same. The labeling is less trendy. The outcome is a dog whose heart does not fail at age 7. Before I give you the fourth rule, I need to tell you something. I put every one of these rules, plus the full list of banned Japanese pet product ingredients, into a book. It includes the exact product names to avoid, the Japanese alternatives that are available in the United States, and a complete guide to transitioning your pet to a Japanese-style care routine in a single weekend. There is a QR code on the screen right now and a link in the description. If you want the full system instead of taking notes, that is where it lives. The fourth rule is the shampoo you use on your dog. In an American pet store, dog shampoo is a fragrance delivery system. The label promises lavender fields, oatmeal calm, tropical breeze. The ingredient list is 28 compounds long, and at least 6 of them are synthetic surfactants that strip the acid mantle from your dog's skin. The acid mantle is a thin, slightly acidic film of sebum and sweat that sits on top of the skin and prevents bacterial colonization. Your dog's acid mantle has a pH between 6.2 and 7.4, which is nearly neutral. Human shampoo has a pH around 5.5. Dog shampoos sold in America often land between 6 and 8, which sounds correct. But the surfactants, sodium lauryl sulfate and sodium laureth sulfate, are so aggressive that the pH number becomes irrelevant. They strip the mantle regardless. You wash your dog. The coat looks clean. The skin is raw and unprotected. Within 48 hours, the Staphylococcus bacteria that live harmlessly on every dog's skin begin to overpopulate the stripped surface. The dog scratches. The scratching creates microabrasions. The bacteria enter the abrasions. The result is the hot spot, the oozing sore, the cone of shame you have dealt with 3 summers in a row. In Japan, dog shampoos are formulated without sulfates. The primary cleansing agent is often amino acid-based, derived from coconut or wheat protein, and the pH is buffered to match canine skin exactly. The product is not fragranced like a candle. It smells faintly of nothing. The fix is to find a sulfate-free dog shampoo with a stated pH between 6.5 and 7.5. Or better, wash your dog half as often as you currently do, using only water and a proper nylon scrub towel, the textured kind sold in Japanese bath supply stores, which mechanically removes dirt without a single drop of detergent. Your dog does not need to smell like lavender. Your dog needs an intact acid mantle. The 5th rule is the flea collar. This one is difficult to talk about because the product was designed to solve a real problem, and it does solve that problem, at a cost most owners do not understand. In an American pet store, flea collars are sold over the counter, no prescription, no warning beyond keep out of reach of children. The active ingredient is typically tetrachlorovinphos, an organophosphate insecticide, or flumethrin, a pyrethroid. These compounds work by being absorbed into the animal's subcutaneous fat layer and slowly releasing through the skin. Every time your cat rubs against the couch, she deposits a microdose of insecticide. Every time your dog sleeps on your bed, he transfers a microdose to your sheets. You have been sleeping on a pesticide delivery system for years without knowing it. In Japan, flea collars containing organophosphates are classified as veterinary pharmaceuticals and require a prescription. They are not sold next to the tennis balls. They are dispensed by a veterinarian who weighs the animal, assesses liver function, and determines a precise dosage for a specific duration. The American over-the-counter model assumes a one-size-fits-all dose for a 10-pound cat and a 90-pound dog. The Japanese model recognizes that a Chihuahua and a Great Dane share no metabolic pathway. The fix is not to abandon flea prevention. It is to switch to an oral medication prescribed by a veterinarian, dosed by weight, administered monthly, and metabolized internally rather than smeared across the surface of your home. Take the collar off your cat tonight. Wash your hands after touching it. And call your vet in the morning. The 6th rule is the litter you pour into the box every Sunday. In an American home, clumping clay litter is the default. It is cheap, it is available, and it clumps. What you have never been told is that clumping clay litter contains sodium bentonite, a swelling clay that expands to 15 times its dry volume when it contacts moisture. When your cat digs in the box, she inhales fine silica dust. When she licks her paws afterward, she ingests sodium bentonite. Inside her digestive tract, the bentonite continues to swell. Over months and years, this creates a cumulative thickening of the intestinal lining that reduces nutrient absorption. Your cat eats the same amount of food but slowly starves. You notice the weight loss. You take her to the vet. The vet runs blood work and finds nothing because the problem is mechanical, not metabolic. In Japan, the most common cat litter is made from recycled paper pellets, compressed wood, or tofu byproduct. These materials clump using natural starches, not swelling clays. They produce no silica dust. If your cat eats a pellet, it dissolves in stomach acid rather than expanding in the intestine. The fix is to switch to a paper pellet or wood pellet litter this week. The cost is slightly higher. The adjustment period is roughly 4 days, during which you mix the new litter with the old in increasing ratios. The outcome is a cat that stops losing weight for no reason. The seventh rule is the rawhide bone. In an American pet store, rawhide is sold as a natural chew. The word natural is doing a lot of work on that label. Rawhide is the inner layer of cow or horse hide, split from the outer leather layer, cleaned, and then processed. The processing is the part the label omits. To transform a slab of hide into a white, uniform bone shape, American manufacturers use a chemical bath that typically includes hydrogen peroxide for bleaching, sodium sulfide for dehairing, and sometimes formaldehyde or chromium salts as preservatives. These are not ingredients. They are processing aids, and processing aids do not have to be listed on the label. You have been handing your dog a chew that contains residual chromium, a heavy metal that accumulates in renal tissue. In Japan, rawhide chews are subject to much stricter residual chemical testing. The result is that most Japanese rawhide products are imported from small European producers who use ash-based dehairing and lime-based bleaching, methods that leave no chemical trace. American rawhide is cheaper because the chemical bath is faster. The fix is not complicated. Stop buying rawhide entirely. Give your dog a yak cheese chew, which is hardened skim milk pressed into a block and smoked for 90 days, containing exactly one ingredient. Or give him an antler, which is shed naturally and requires no processing at all. Your dog does not need a bleached hide. Your dog needs something to gnaw. The eighth rule is the plastic food storage container. You bought a 40-pound bag of kibble. You cannot reseal the bag. So you pour it into a plastic bin with a snap lid, and you scoop from that bin for the next 6 weeks. Here is what happens inside that bin. Kibble is coated in fats and oils. Those fats oxidize when they contact air. The oxidation products, primarily lipid peroxides, leach into the plastic walls of the container. You finish the bag. You pour a new bag into the same container without washing it. The new kibble now sits in contact with rancid fat residue from the previous batch. You have been feeding your dog oxidized fats for years, and oxidized fats are a primary driver of systemic inflammation in mammals. In Japan, kibble is stored in its original bag, which is lined with a fat-resistant barrier, and the entire bag is placed inside a metal canister. The metal does not absorb fats. The bag provides the barrier. The canister provides the seal. The fix is to stop decanting kibble into plastic. Keep the food in its original bag, squeeze the air out, clip it shut, and store the bag inside a stainless steel pet food canister. If you must use a bin, line it with the original bag first. The cost of a metal canister is $30. The cost of chronic inflammation is arthritis, pancreatitis, and a shortened lifespan. The ninth rule is the tennis ball. You have thrown a tennis ball for your dog every evening for years. The ball is fuzzy. The fuzz is abrasive. The abrasive fuzz is designed to grip a tennis court surface, not to enter a dog's mouth. Every time your dog catches the ball, the fuzz scrapes against his teeth. Over months and years, this abrasion wears down the enamel on the canines and premolars, exposing the dentin beneath. Exposed dentin is sensitive to temperature and vulnerable to bacterial penetration. Your dog is 7 years old, and the vet tells you he needs a dental cleaning that requires anesthesia. The root cause was the tennis ball. In Japan, dogs play with rubber balls, specifically solid rubber balls without a felt coating. The surface is smooth and non-abrasive. The material is vulcanized rubber that does not shred into microplastics when chewed. The fix is to throw away every tennis ball in your house right now and replace them with solid rubber balls designed for dogs, the kind with a single molded piece and no glued seam. Your dog will not care about the difference in texture. His teeth will. The 10th rule is the one that ties everything else together, and it is the hardest to accept because it is not a product. It is a philosophy. In Japan, There is a concept called unknowingly, which roughly translates to a sense of regret over waste. But the meaning runs deeper. Unknowingly is the recognition that every object has a spirit, a value, and that using something improperly or wastefully is a form of disrespect. This philosophy extends to pet care. A Japanese pet owner does not buy a bag of treats because they are on sale. They buy a single ingredient, a dried fish or a piece of freeze-dried liver, and they treat it as a supplement, not a snack. A Japanese pet owner does not buy a new toy every week. They buy 2 high-quality toys and rotate them. The American model of pet care is built on volume. More products, more variety, more frequent replacement. The Japanese model is built on sufficiency. Fewer products, higher quality, longer use. The reason your home is full of half-empty bags of treats, 3 different shampoos, a basket of destroyed toys, and a plastic bin of stale kibble is not that you love your pet too much. It is that you have been sold the idea that love is expressed through purchasing. The Japanese express love through attention, through observation, through the daily inspection of the water bowl, the weekly brushing of the teeth, the careful reading of an ingredient list, not because it is fun, but because it is required. The fix is not a product. The fix is a decision. Tonight, walk through your house and gather every pet product you own. Read every ingredient list. If a product contains a compound you cannot pronounce, a humectant, a synthetic fragrance, a chemical processing aid, or a swelling clay, throw it away. Replace it with the simplest version available. A ceramic bowl, a rubber ball, a single ingredient chew, a sulfate-free shampoo, a metal canister. Your pet does not need 40 products. Your pet needs you to stop buying the 35 that are slowly making him sick.